Howdy everyone. Have you ever been bombarded by so many Teams messages you didn't even know where to start? And you didn't really have the time to go through all of them, yet you still wanted to know if there were any action items hidden within that bombardment? Well, do I have the automation for you? Today we're going to create a Power Automate that will automatically read our incoming Teams messages, assess them with AI, and if it is a task, if the message does contain a task, we're going to create that task in Planner. Which is really cool. Now, of course, there are many ways to probably achieve this goal. However, every business or organization has different licensing capabilities and different sorts of AI credits, and sometimes it can be a bit limiting. So I'm going to show you a pretty bare basic way that most people should be able to do no matter what organization that you're in. And it does not require a Copilot license, which is great. However, it will require, depending on your licensing, if you don't have any, the way to get around some of it is to use your developer environment. There are ways that you can get a developer environment. It is free, and it's basically a test space where you can trial new features or features requiring a certain type of licensing. There are limitations on how you can share that with others, but it's a great place to see the features before you want to expand that within your business. So let's get started. I'm in my environment, my developer environment here today, and I'm going to create a new flow. So let's go to create. Let me just get rid of that environment. And I'm going to create an automated cloud flow. I'm going to call it create a task when a new message requests one. Obviously, it can be whatever meaningful name it is to you. And we're also going to search for when a Teams chat message arrives. When a new chat message is added, that's one we want. And we're going to hit create. All right, it's done that quick validation of my connection. And now I'm going to start by adding my first steps. So the first step that we want to do is actually get message details. Unfortunately, that trigger doesn't capture a lot of data that we need. So we need to create that as an action. So get message details. Get message details. Then the great thing about Power Automate is we can hit that lightning bolt and pull up the message ID. Now you can see that it put it automatically in a for each loop. It just is because of the get message details. Sometimes it can expect an array. For this case, it's never going to run as an array. It's just a default setting within Power Automate. So don't worry too much about it for now. We're also going to select the message type as group chat. This will work for chats that are not group chats. It's just kind of like a category that we set up. Now we're going to add a custom value. So right now you can see that I do have a group chat here, but the thing is that I might want to monitor more than one group chat. So I can then go to message conversation ID under when a new chat message is added. And I'm going to hit save before we go any further. Amazing. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to add a run a prompt. So you can see AI capabilities, run a prompt. If you can't see it, obviously you can search for it. So let's hit run a prompt. From here, you can see that there are a few suggested or like inbuilt AI prompts that you could use. And you can see that I've also been dabbling myself. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new custom prompt. We now have this pop-up window. We can rename the prompt. For now, I'm really just going to leave it, but we can include instructions and we can also do a test run. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, is the following Teams message, does the following Teams message include a work task request? I'm then going to put it in quotation marks. and I'm going to, in between the quotation marks, add content. This is where we can have insert our dynamic content from the flow. So I'm going to hit text, and I can always do some sample data. So when I'm doing a test within this AI prompt window, I can just have like a default to play with. I'm going to leave it blank for now because I don't really think we need to do a test. All right, and I'm going to put a full stop. Now, the key for this to actually work and sort of be reliable for our Power Automate is we need the output to be discrete. So now I'm going to direct it to, if it is a task, only reply yes, and if it is not, only reply no. And that's so that later on we can do a condition. But I'm going to save that for now. Amazing. So you can see my custom prompt is now here. I can of course edit it if I want to change anything a bit later. And that text input that we put in the prompt is here. So I can insert dynamic content. I'm going to hit that lightning bolt and I'm going to add, I'm actually going to search for plain text content. Amazing. Again, I'm going to hit save. Awesome. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add a condition. We're going to go into controls and add a condition. And my condition is going to be, if it is a task, then we are going to create a planner task. But we, of course, need to do that as a condition. So let's hit that lightning bolt. And I want the text output of my prompt. Amazing. And if it is equal to capital YES, if you used lowercase, do that. It's going to try and match exactly however you spelt it in your prompt. So I'm going to do capital YES. Then I'm going to actually run another prompt. Now this one's actually a bit of a caveat. So for some of our demonstrations here today, we're probably not going to need it, but it's a great way for when someone sends you a long-winded message for it to be summarized, because we do have a 255 character limit on the titles of tasks in Planner. So of course, if it's a big message, we want to summarize that. Of course, you could experiment with, I do believe if we scroll down, there is an AI summarize. However, I want to add some extra customization there in terms of inserting a character limit. So let's add a custom prompt. Again, of course, rename it something meaningful. I'm just going to power through today. And I'm going to say, summarize the following Teams message task request to be no greater than 255 characters, including spaces. Then I'm going to put in quotation marks again and add content to be able to insert my message again. Sometimes it adds extra spaces that I don't really like, so I'm going to back them out. I think that's enough of a prompt for us to test, and I'm going to hit save. Great. Now I'm going to also add in that text input, which will be my plain text from the message. Body plain text. Amazing. And now we can hit that create task in Planner. So let's search for create task. I'm sure you know the deal by now. Preview has some extra stuff that may not be necessarily reliable, but for what we're doing today, it's pretty simple and we just want it to work. So let's do a create task. Go away review. All right, so now we need the group ID, the plan ID, and the title. So group ID and plan ID, we can actually get from the URL. So I'm going to go over to my demonstration planner here, and in the URL, this last code, so see how it says board ID and it equals this code? That is actually, I believe, is it the group? That is my group ID. I'm going to go to enter custom value, hit paste in there. Similarly, for plan ID, you can see that we have plan, and then we have this is our plan ID here. So let's go into custom value and add it there. Next, again, remember that maximum 255 characters? Well, we're now going to insert the output of prompt 1 as text, which is that summarize of the message. Amazing. And of course, you could always add a start date, due date, things like that, and you could infer, the date the message was sent is the start date, or also perhaps infer the due date. That's like some really great expansions that you could build upon on this base, but we're just going to kick on. So the only other thing that I sort of want to do is add some context to the task, because out of context, it's just a random task. We're not actually exactly sure who it came from or when it came from. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another step, and it's going to be update task details. Update task details. Amazing. Update task includes more of the headlining type stuff like title, due date, things like that. But details includes any reference links and description notes. So that's what we want to do now. Within that, we need to select the task ID, of course, hit that lightning bolt, and we can go to see more and find ID. And for the description, I am going to do a few things. So I'm going to go to the lightning bolt and I'm going to say, is it from? Yeah, from user display name. So I want to know who it is from. I'm then going to do a, a semicolon? Probably not. Let's pretend it is. I'm going to do a space, and then I'm going to actually put the body, the plain text of the whole message. So I can, in the description, see the full context of the message and who it was from. To further give us some more details, we can also go to F references and take references. I'm going to add a new item, and I'm going to say link to Teams message. Then in resource link, I can go to the lightning bolt and search link, and either the trigger body or get message details, I can say message link, and I should be able to hit save. Sweet as. All right. So that's looking pretty good. Let's give it a test. So let me just pull up a Teams chat. So this is a chat that I have going to a different account. So let's say, howdy, whoops, not typing. Howdy, Johanna, I'll need an update on that report for next week, and hit send. Let's now go back to the dashboard for the flow. 6 seconds ago, succeeded. That looks good to me. Now let's do a triple check to make sure all the steps went through. Got message, run the prompt, it did the condition, it found that it was a task. It then ran the summarization, created a task, and also populated it with description and reference link. Now let's go to the true test of the planner. Let's hit refresh on planner. And boom, requesting an update on the report due next week. I can also see that it's from Johanna, and I can see the full message unsummarized or untampered by AI. I can also select this and go directly to the Teams chat itself, which is awesome. So I hope that sparked some ideas for you. I also hope that it allowed you to kind of envision how a solution like this can exist if you don't have a Copilot license. Of course, Copilot makes it great and it has a lot of value, but there's also ways to achieve some really great things with prompts and AI that we don't need to necessarily pay the big bucks. Of course, it's always interesting to apply filters, perhaps segment it to certain projects or chats, and also populate it with any other information. You could also prompt it to interpret it's due next week, and then add 7 days, and then automatically add that as the due date on the task itself. You could also furthermore enhance it by assigning it to buckets, by getting the bucket ID and perhaps asking the AI to say, hey, here are my 7 buckets, please assess the task and which one it fits into, and if it doesn't fit into any, add it to the no bucket. I hope that was really exciting and something simple to get you started. Okay, thanks, bye.